Hey guys, here we are in the Ferrari 488 GT3 at Sebring for a short track guide. So I looked at the VRS races a few weeks ago and it looked like the Lamborghini was actually the strongest at this track, but the Ferrari wasn't far off along with like the BMW and the Porsche and the Audi. So I think this is a pretty strong car to be racing with. So I'm going to show the onboard lap first and then I'll do some slow motion analysis of the lap and hopefully that will help. So without further ado, here's the onboard lap. And now here's the slow motion analysis of the lap. So we're just going to make sure we're starting at the beginning of lap 5 here. Okay. And as we're starting the lap, I'm just going to play it in just bring down the volume. Looking to the first corner, it's pretty hard to find a braking zone here. You have the banner going over, but I actually look to the very right-hand side, and I see this building right here. And basically, as soon as it goes out of view, I like wait 1 second, and then 1 second after that, I get on the brakes, and then downshift to fourth. You wait a bit of time before you downshift to third here. I feel if you downshift and brake and turn all at the same time, it can make the car unsteady. So I only downshift to once. You try to aim for that cone. You can see right on the fence there. It's very easy. It's not really any. It looks like the corner goes on forever. So using that cone as a reference for apex is very helpful. I feel like I almost want to apex right after that because you can see I almost ran off the track on the corner exit here. So obviously, when you're in traffic, it's going to understeer even more. So using that as a reference is better than anything. As we're getting up to this next corner, you can see that the track is kind of curving over. So you really want to focus on a straight line braking. So turn and wait till the car is finally straight before getting on the brakes here. Braking right past the 3 cones. Kind of braking at like 60 or 70%, and then because you're kind of like this S bend coming up, the line is super important through here. You don't want to take too much of this curb, but really focus on a late apex here, getting the last bit of this curb through here, and by bringing yourself over to the left hand side, giving you a good line to the right hand, and then you want to focus on where to apex for this last bit on as you get onto this long like straightaway coming up. So turning kind of right before like this white patch on the track, and he's just tapping a little bit of the brake for extra rotation. You can see the way the curve like changes. It almost like changes angles. It like tightens up right around here, and that's kind of the point where you want to start focusing on apexing. However, on an exit, the curb is super high, and if you're still turning on the exit and your rear tires clip the curb, you can go spinning around. So you really have to focus on apexing around this little bit of curb and then straining up the wheel on the exit. That way you don't hit the curb while your wheel is still turning. You can see I kind of had to work the wheel there because I got the bit of the curb. So going up to this next braking zone, this is probably one of the tightest corners on the track. it doesn't look too tight, but it's essentially a hairpin. So being able to hit the apex is super crucial here. Braking right at the 4 cones, and again being patient on the downshifts. You don't want to get the rears too unstabilized here. You can see a bit of lockup on the dash there, and then waiting a bit longer until you get to first gear here. And you really want to get all the way onto the front as much as possible. That way it will turn as best as possible. So basically trail braking all the way up to the apex, and then letting off, letting just the wheels do the work at this point. And then once you finally got to the apex, getting partial on throttle here, not wanting to accelerate until the wheel is starting to get unwinded. And see, I had to get a little bit of counter steer there, and then straightening out. So really important to just trail brake into that corner and late downshift to first. Getting downshift, if you're downshifting to first too early, again, like the rears can spin a bit. So just taking the line of least resistance through this next section. Just holding left hand side here, you got a long straight line braking section here, braking right after the 4 cones. Again, around 60-70% brake pressure, turning in right after this 1 cone. And you don't want to get too much of this curb. Again, it's pretty big. It'll unsell the car. It'll kind of shove you over to the left hand side of the track. But it is a bit off camber wide, so being able to get into the apex is really crucial. Getting up to this next corner, it's really challenging because the line through here is so narrow. So while you're going to be braking around the 3 cones over here, you're going to be turning in super late. So braking right at the 3 cones. However, you're waiting like way past the 1 cone until you start turning in. And actually, you kind of want to get a bit of this curb here, because if you miss the curb, you might end up just running wide. And while the curb does unstabilize you a bit, running wide, you can just see it will hurt you. There's not much runoff here, just into the sand or into the dirt. So basically it's important to turn late there because you don't want to hit too much of that curb. So these double lefts here, these curves are very flat, so you can take all the curb you need through here, just holding the left hand side of the track and braking right at the 3 cones again. 60% trail braking into this corner through here, trying to get as much of the curb as possible. You can see that even with getting all this curb, when I got back on the throttle, I kind of got brought all the way over to the left-hand side of the track here, not exactly in the best track position. So, and then there's so many different lines through here. You see a lot of guys going way over here on the left-hand side, but you really don't need to go that far. You can just basically bring all 4 tires over past this white line. As soon as you get there, it gives you a wide enough turn-in for this next point. And again, apexing just right on this curb. And this exit curbing, it's just so short, and I feel like you kind of don't want to rely on it. You want to just use all the track, and if you need to, this curbing's here, but you can see it disappears so fast that I would say, I mean, also when you go into this corner, you can't see the exit. So you're basically aiming for a blind corner. So really just try to not use this when you need to, and just, because it's easy to just go way too wide into the grass because you're assuming that the curb's not there. So going into this last corner, probably one of the most challenging corners. The corners just tie in further and further as you continue through it. And the braking point, it can really change. I'm braking kind of like right in like at the 2 cones here, and I'd say the crucial thing is straight line braking. Because it's a continuous corner, you don't need to be turning and braking, or else it's just not going to be efficient. So really trying to straight line brake through here. A lot of people do like to go wide. I try to take a middle line through here, or I didn't go as deep, and I kind of hindered my exit a little bit, but I felt like I gained a little bit more on entry. Again, another thing to focus on is the timing of the downshift. So I was going from 5th down to 4th, down to 3rd. Again, waiting here down to 2nd. I feel you might be able to do this in 3rd, but I feel 2nd was just a little bit safer through here, but waiting for 2nd. And again, if you downshift to 2nd too early, again, you'll get a lot of oversteer on exit. Using up all the track on the left-hand side, and that's a lap around Sebring. So that was a lap time of 158.8. And here are the settings that were used. You can see that was 8 p.m. in-game, so pretty cool sunset, 70 degrees, air temp and track temp, 10 mile/hour winds, and 60% track usage. So hopefully that guide helped you. Good luck in the good luck in the Sebring 12 hours. Sorry, still used to the Bathurst race, and thanks for watching.